Hello and welcome everyone to information session about digital transformation program from Cambridge Judge Business School. My name is Rudolf or Rudy Fallad. I'll be your moderator today. We have Professor Stella Pachidi or Pachidi. She can correct me in a second. She is the lead faculty for this program. And we're going to talk about digital transformation and not only the digital transformation, but also how you strategize about it and how you actually get it done. So from strategy to execution. So I see that some of you are already online. It would help us tremendously if you can tell us in the chat where you're connecting from. So is everybody connecting from the UK or also from outside the UK? If you can put that in the chat, that would be great. So let me see. Okay. All right. So I see a couple of people there, so don't hesitate and please tell us where you're connecting from in the chat. Okay, I got that. So we got London and Switzerland in the house, so perfect. You matching us as well, so that's great. Okay. All right, so how are we going to run this? You can put your questions in the Q&A if you like, and keep an eye on the chat box, because we'll also give you some links that will be helpful for you. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate and put them in the Q&A. And we'll stop at the suitable time and we can talk about it during the presentation, a short presentation we have for you, and also at the end. Here is Stella. We can see how you pronounce it, I think in Greek, right? So Stella Pachidi, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Thank you very much. And for the record, in Greek, it's Stella Pachidi. But interestingly, because of digital transformation, my surname has had to be pronounced differently. In Greece, we have a computerized system for creating passports, and it converts automatically Greek characters to Latin characters. And that's how I've ended up with a Pachidi in the English form. I think that this is an interesting anecdote of unintended consequences of digitalization. Anyway, my name is Stella Pachidi. I'm assistant professor in information systems at the Judge Business School. And my research interests lie in the intersection of technology, work, and organizations. I am particularly interested in my research how emerging digital technologies, to be precise, are transforming work, what challenges arise when you implement those technologies in the workplace, and how managers can overcome those challenges. And if you join the program, we'll be pretty much speaking about all that. My teaching is around that area. I teach a lot around digital business, a lot around the digital transformation, as well as the impact of artificial intelligence on work. And usually I tend to bring insights from my research studies in my teachings. I'm looking forward to interacting with everybody synchronously and asynchronously in this program. Thank you.
Wonderful, Stella. So thanks so much. We'll hear from you in a second. We'll talk about the curriculum. We'll talk about what you can expect from the course. And as I said, my name is Rudy, and I work with Emeritus, who partner with Judge Business School to deliver this program online to you. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to give you a little bit of an overview of the Judge Business School. I guess everybody has heard of Cambridge. Many people heard of Judge Business School, but we also want to focus on the latter part of the description here, executive education. So we'll give you a little bit of an overview of who we think this course is the best suited for. But in general, we'll talk about business leaders. We'll talk about people with some experience, but also there may be people with not a lot of experience yet. But mostly there will be executives and senior management that could take this course. But we'll talk about it in a moment. We'll also give you a bit of an overview, as I said, of the curriculum, but also give you a bit of a feel, how will that look like in the online setting for you when you take this course on a daily basis? And also, what is the tangible outcome at the end? Most of you would like to get a certificate, which you can use for your CV, resume, or you can show it on showcases on LinkedIn. So we'll talk about all of that and the logistics as well, how to potentially register if you are interested in this course, or if you have still questions. We also have a channel where you can connect with an individual advisor. You can have a one-on-one discussion with them to find out more. A little bit of an overview for context about Cambridge University and also about Judge Business School. You can see here that this university is very well known when it comes to research. As Stella already mentioned, she uses her research in the teaching. Why is that important for you? Because Digital transformation is fairly popular topic in the media these days. However, sometimes you don't know from which direction wind blows and why. But what you will get here from Stella and her colleagues as well, you will get a balanced view, which is based on the research. It's based on the research they do, and you get a balanced view because they're obviously independent and they're not trying to sell you a particular solution under the umbrella of digital transformation. You will see it here, on the other hand, that this is not an academic, inward-looking philosophy that Cambridge Judge Business School has, right? It's about bringing that research into practice, and it's about strategic business solutions. And we'll say that a couple of times during the presentation today. The course is called Digital Transformation, but it doesn't mean it's a technical course, right? So don't worry about coding. Don't expect coding here, but expect to look at various technologies that you can use as a means to an end to achieve your strategic objectives as a manager. Program overview. Now you can see here, I won't read it, obviously. We will also talk about the fact that you should never read the slides the way they are, right? This is not a script. But a couple of key points that I'd like to highlight here. You see here, 47% gap exists between senior business leaders who say that digitalization, or you can say that's digital transformation, is a priority, and the organizations that have brought these digital initiatives to scale. So what does that mean? A lot of people, a lot of companies, unfortunately, pay a lip service to digital transformation and to the digital readiness, but you may not see these sort of proposals and initiatives really taking off. And you also don't see a lot of companies deriving tangible benefits from digital transformation. So what we're trying to do here is to give you tools and the frameworks so you can do better. So you can take these technologies, put this together with the business acumen that you have and the management and strategic perspective you get in the course, and you can be more successful when it comes to your digital transformation efforts. How much time it will take? We think it will take you about 4 to 6 hours. It's a 6-week course. What does that mean? It's a mixture of asynchronous and synchronous and live sessions. So what does that mean? Big words, right? It means that the lectures are pre-recorded, so you can watch them whenever you like. Some people do it before work, some people do it after work, or over the weekend, or whenever they have a moment. Either way works, as long as you don't leave it until last minute and the next week and the next week, right? So obviously there is some flexibility because everybody understands you're busy professionals, but it's important that you obviously keep up the pace. There will be live sessions with faculty. You will also have a support from learning facilitators. You will also be able to, and you should, learn from one another as well. So you will have peer discussions. You will have a discussion forum where you can comment on the content and have questions there and start a discussion. And of course, there will be exercises and graded assignments as well, so that people who actually earn a certificate, they have earned it. But I would say, generally speaking, again, it's not like in the undergrad or university, but it's more about the effort, original thought. And if you put enough effort into this, I don't think you will have enough. You will have a problem to complete. So let's hand over to Stella and find out more about what are the key takeaways from the program.
Thank you very much, Rudy. One of the important aspects we've had in mind while designing this program is, as Rudy said, this is not a technological program. It's a program about enabling you as managers and leaders of your organizations to be able to assess the different emerging technologies and to be able to strategically think about where you want your organization to be and how technological transformation, technological change fits in all that. In other words, digital transformation, of course, it has to do with the digital technologies, but it comes along with an integration with the strategy of the strategy of the organization and several cultural, process, operational, and structural changes and people changes that will come along. So our rationale is to enable you to tackle those changes, obviously by reflecting on emerging digital technologies that are offered right now, but also to equip you with a way of thinking, with a mindset that you will be able to apply further down in the future. So in a way, future-proof yourselves and your organizations. What does that mean practically? So we will want you to, first of all, we will help you. We'll give you frameworks to understand the value of the digital transformation, to be able to assess what kind of digital transformation specifically fits with your own organization's strategy and business model, or potentially to consider how those may have to change in order, by looking externally, in order to be able to stay on the lead or to catch up with the broader transformations that are happening in your industry. So we're going to start by the nature of the transformation, and then the idea is to go a little bit externally and understand the external impact and how the external changes are affecting your organization. Also in terms of how you engage with your customers. So we want you to ask how digital transformation is going to affect the way in which you're engaging with your customer, given that your customers' expectations will be changing as well, and then move internally and assess the internal challenges that you may face and provide you with techniques and strategies and tactics for overcoming those challenges. Rudy, could you please move to the next slide? I think I've already been alluding to this. I would say the program is suitable for a few different roles. So you may be interested in this more from a more strategic point of view. And I think that in this way, it will help you figure out how to think strategically about your organization and how to develop transformation initiatives. I think it can also be applicable to mid or even senior level managers who are trying to either implement these transformations in their own functions, or who are already considering about engaging with a more bottom-up approach to this transformation, hoping to bring about change in the rest of their organization. And of course, it will also be relevant to consultants who are already advising or who want to move to advising their clients on change issues, specifically when it comes to change that associates with digital transformation. Shall we move to the next slide? I think, Rudy, it comes back to you now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how will that look like from day-to-day perspective for you? So you will get a login to a course website. It's a dedicated course website. And when we say cutting edge content, this is where Stella and her colleagues recorded the videos, which are not very long, so you can consume them easily. You need to log in to have access to the internet to watch them. But other than that, you can also adjust the speed if you like. So if you want a speaker to speak faster or slower, you can do that there. And you can, as I said, watch it before work, after work, whenever it suits you. And then there will be live sessions, but the live sessions are prepared in conjunction with the content that you hopefully have seen by then. So don't take it as lectures, right? So don't think that on Thursday we have a live session, that's a lecture. Until then, there's nothing to do. There will be plenty to do, but you can do it on your own. And then we can have a live discussion with the faculty or facilitators as well. What we'll also do is we'll think about scenarios. We'll think about real-world applicability. As Stella said, this is dedicated towards or for managers. So how do you use these digital technologies for your digital transformation to achieve your strategic objectives? And for this, we need to look at the real world, and we'll tell you about some case studies in a moment as well. And of course, you will have some assignments, but as I said, I wouldn't stress about it too much. If you follow the content and you put a good faith effort into this, it should not be a problem. And at the end of the day, you will get a digital certificate. We live in the modern world, so there won't be any paper certificate, but there will be a digital certificate. And I'm sure it will also satisfy all the other requirements that you might have when it comes to background checks and things like this. These days, this is all automated. So let's hear even more about program curriculum. We had a bit of an overview from Stella, but let's talk about individual modules, please.
Thank you, Rudy. So as Rudy said, this course is organized across 6 weeks. In the first week, we have an overview of the nature of digital transformation, and we also look at the organizational elements of digital transformation. So how digital transformation is shaping organizations, how it is requiring changes in the structure of the organization and in the mindset of managers and leaders. And then we move on to looking at the process of digital transformation, starting from the external perspective. So first we look externally in terms of the customer, looking at how digital transformation is often driven by changes in how you engage with your customers, or to respond to your customers' changing expectations. And we also this is a module that is taught by my colleague Shasha Lu from the Judge Business School, who is specialized in digital marketing. So she will also be teaching on leveraging digital tools and technologies for engaging with customers and for acquiring or retaining customers. And then the next part of the external impact focuses on the competitive strategy. This is a module that is taught my colleague Carla Sayeg, who has been doing research extensively as well on technology and on digital technologies and organizations. And she will be looking at how business models change and how strategic approaches change with digital transformation. She will be diving into, for example, platform-related strategies and digital ecosystem strategies. And then afterwards, we will be moving into internal aspects. In Module 4, we will be looking at the innovation process, at the process of innovation, and we will be looking at how digital transformation requires new ways of innovating, as well as how it enables new ways of innovating. So we will be looking at examples of open innovation, for example. And then in Module 5, we together will be looking at the internal impact, how digital transformation is impacting work, what this means for the future of work when you implement new technologies like artificial intelligence, how you leverage digital transformation to also support changing ways of managing work, for example, by implementing technologies to enable remote work. And we will also start looking at the internal change that will need to be performed. So how you can prepare your organization basically to embrace and use those technologies. And then in the final module, we will be looking at what this means for managers and leaders. So we will be reflecting on different cases of digital transformation from the leadership perspective, on what this means for leaders about leading that initiative and managing the people in the transformation process.
Great stuff. So you can see here on this page, you're going to learn more about the operational elements of digital transformation. You will start with the customer focus, which I think is great because a lot of the companies and managers these days talk about customer centricity, but we all know they don't start thinking about the customer in the morning. But here in this program, you will see it early on. So that's really on point, because that's the best way how to get yourself ready for strategic success and for innovation, which we'll also talk about in the next few modules, and then the impact and what it means for the management and change management. That's just a bit of a recap on what Stella just told you, but I would pause here to see if you have any questions on the content or on the curriculum. Let's see. Don't hesitate, because this is meant to be an interactive session. Please, if you have questions, you can put them in a Q&A. All right. All right, Aziz, go for it. If you put it in the chat, that would be the easiest. Or Q&A. Let's see. So Aziz is asking if there will be any hands-on projects. So actually, maybe let's talk about the case studies first, and then Stella, you can explain a little bit more on that as well. So here you anticipated these questions. Let's talk about hands-on projects and case studies, Stella.
Yes, sure. So first of all, we use several case studies. I think the slide here mentions three case studies, one with Mattel, the other one is by referring to Google Nest thermostat and the ecosystem around it. So the Mattel case study is actually in Module 1, when we look at what this means for the organization. We look at Mattel and specifically their Hot Wheels product, and how an initiative to digitally transform this toy perpetual changes in the overall organization. We are actually really lucky to have also interviews with people from Mattel, very high up in the hierarchy, which will be provided on the virtual learning environment for you to watch. So you will really hear from the executives about their experience, and you will hear from me in terms of how we can make sense of their experience and what we learn about organizations driving digital transformation. And then the Google Nest thermostat, it will be taught in, I think that's in module 3, when you discuss platforms and ecosystems. So you will look at the case of Google Nest thermostat as a case of innovation platform and its ecosystem, and the OurCrowd case as a case of transaction platform and the ecosystem, and the strategies that organizations and managers have to engage with in order to continue thriving within those new models, where you have to collaborate, engage the partners in your ecosystem, but a lot of times compete with them at the same time. So really looking at the strategic aspects. And there's a few other actually case studies that we discussed that may not be mentioned in the slide. For example, in module 6, when I talk about managing the digital transformation, I actually present a case from my own research with the digital transformation of a telecommunications organization and the cultural challenges that they had to face when they tried to digitally transform their business-to-business sales function. Then, so basically, yes, just to sum up, a lot of engagement with other cases as well. That engagement is done through the videos, also through the asynchronous learning tools. So you will be discussing also the cases and analyzing them as part of your coursework as you engage on the virtual learning environment to interact and share your views with your fellow classmates. Aside from that, we have also been developing a playbook. Basically, after each module, there is a reflective element of coursework where you have to reflect on what this means for your own organization. So our intention is for you to apply the different concepts, frameworks, and lessons learned basically from the different modules to your own organization. And we have integrated this basically in the assignments and in the coursework. So that will be quite hands-on in terms of applying it to how you think about your own firm. I hope that answers your question as is.
All right, great stuff. Thank you. Now, let's also talk a little bit about your colleagues. You mentioned that several times, but we talked about you. If you could tell us a little bit more about the other colleagues that are on the program, that would be great.
Sure. So yes, and indeed I've mentioned them already. I must say that obviously you have not watched the videos yet, but for us it feels as if you're already becoming part of it, and I think you will feel almost like us after you watch the videos. I understand you don't yet. So anyways, yeah, so I talked about myself. I will just speak about my colleagues now. Carla Sayeg, Dr. Carla Sayeg, she's bringing in a lot of industry experience as well. So she's currently assistant professor of organization theory and information systems at the Judge Business School. She did her PhD on technology and organizations at McGill University in Canada, but prior to her academic career, she actually spent a lot of years in the industry, in strategy consulting and in real estate, private equity and venture funding. So she will be bringing she brings in her classes basically a lot of that industry experience in making sense of how digital transformation shapes organizations. And Dr. Carla Sayeg, she will be teaching you, I think, module 3 and module 4. So the module on, as I said, the platforms and ecosystems and overall how the external impact of digital transformation, as far as the external impact is concerned, and what this means for organizations' strategies and business models. And she will also be teaching module 4 on open innovation. And then my other colleague, Dr. Sasha Liu, also at the Judge Business School, she's associate professor in marketing. She specializes in digital marketing. She brings in extensive research and experience in applying virtual technologies as well as artificial intelligence technologies in engaging with customers. And she will be teaching module 2 which is about the engagement with the customers and basically leveraging digital transformation for customer centricity. Yes.
So here's how your hard work will look like at the end. So there will be some tangible or intangible outcome, and there will be the digital certificate that you can get after you finish all the requirements, after you finish the course and fulfill the requirements. So this will be issued to you shortly after the finish of the end of the course, and you will be able to use it for your CV, in your job search, or for your LinkedIn profile, anything like that. So that will be the end of it if you finish all the required assignments, as I mentioned. So coming back to your questions, a lot of them relate to this one way or another. So Augustine is asking, how long will I have access to the learning materials? Typically, it's 1 year from the start. Team is on the line as well. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But generally speaking, it's 1 year from the start. You can download the documents, but for the videos, you need to be on the course website and watch them. And you can do this for 1 year from the start. Arnold's asking, how many times in a year does this course happen? Several times in a year. I cannot really talk about specifics because we are fairly flexible, but several times in a year. I will give you a link where you can find out about the next run shortly. And also, if you have any other questions, you can talk to an individual advisor and you can talk about that. And then Augustine is also asking about networking opportunities. So if you remember, I talked about how this course will look like from a day-to-day perspective. So if you come back to this and we talk about, for example, here, live sessions, assignments, etc. But we also talked about this before when we talk about this, and we talk about engaging peer discussions to exchange and generate ideas. So you will have a discussion forum where first and foremost, you can chat with your colleagues and you can exchange ideas about the content and therefore network. And also there will be live sessions and we can incorporate the networking aspects into those live sessions. Sometimes people set up a LinkedIn group outside of the platform. I don't think you really need it because, as we all know, LinkedIn groups are not necessarily active, but you can, and we can promote this, but we can also do this within the course website. So there you will have only for you dedicated discussion forums, and you will have the overview of your classmates. You can contact them, talk about the business ideas you might have, any technological ideas you might have, etc. Then there is a question perhaps for you, Stella. Anna's asking, is this course an extension of the new changes in digital transformation for someone who's been working in the space already and exposed to concept already? And how would this differ from a full master's degree in digital transformation of 12 months?
Thank you, Rudy. So I guess I'm not sure what you mean with the new changes in digital transformation. We look at different emerging digital technologies and how they shape work and organizations. So it might be that you may be acquainted with the impact of some of those technologies already, maybe not. I think the intention is, as I said earlier, right, to use the current emerging digital technologies to equip you with ways of thinking about digital transformation and responding to digital transformation challenges more broadly later on. If you're asking me if it can replace a 12-month master's program on digital transformation, I guess it depends, right? Obviously, we assign with a lot of literature. We assign with additional recommended readings that you can read. But of course, there's a finite number of case studies that we address. I'm sure in 12 months, at least if I were teaching over 12 months, I would have been addressing a lot more case studies. So I think it depends on what is your objective for getting out of this program, basically.
Absolutely, and it's not a technical course, as we mentioned, right? So this is more suited for managers to have
Definitely.
an overview of the technologies, but we talk about connection between digital opportunities and a strategy, the open innovation, the impact, the challenges of executing it, and things like this. So it's a holistic overview, but it's not technical. There may be some longer programs which are, by definition, also more technical as well.
Indeed, Rudy, if you don't mind, maybe I think that said, I think this program could be relevant to people with a technical background who are, however, aspiring to move to a more managerial position in the transformation, right? Because it will help them think from a different frame, from a different perspective about what this means for the managers, right? And actually, in my sessions, I talk about boundary spanners, people who are needed in the organization who have an understanding of both worlds, the technical world and the managerial world. So I could see some people with technical background attending this course, not with the intention of deepening their technical knowledge, but more of being exposed to the challenges that managers and leaders are faced with and understanding how they could help them in addressing those, or even how they would become managers of those transformation initiatives themselves.
Absolutely. So that is a great point, right? So it's about business managers becoming more digitally savvy, but also works the other way around for technical people who are very strong on the technical side. However, they may have an issue when they want to propose something and they need to talk to commercially minded managers, right? So it's about balance between the two. So how the two camps can talk to each other. Absolutely. So which is related to the question here, Jane, for you. Jane was asking about platforms. What do you mean by platforms? Is this a marketplace, or is this a platform when it's related to a specific area of the business? There are different kinds of platforms, right? So SAP could be seen as a platform, Amazon could be seen as a platform. So which one do you cover in the course?
So basically, we cover different types of platforms. So I think that my colleague Carla, she will look at different types of platforms in terms of, obviously, indeed, popular platforms that act as marketplaces in bringing in connecting different sites basically together and facilitating, orchestrating exchanges. But at the same time, indeed, she will also introduce the platform-based model and how that applies to more internal approaches that may be applied internally in organizations. And I think in the live session that Carla ran, in the first in other live sessions that she's already run, basically with the program, she actually engages even more extensively in the discussions with the participants about implementing the platform business model internally in organizations. She will address that. Just let me clarify, Jane is asking about IT architecture specifically. Allow me to say that the architecture part is only addressed on a very high level, because as we just discussed, this is meant more for managers. So it will only be addressed on a high level about what this means for managing this, but we will not go into technical details about the platform architecture.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your insights and clarifications. So when we look at this slide, we talk about the recap. So what have we talked about until now? We talked about the course, which is about digital transformation. When it comes to your experience, it's a mixture of self-learning. So in other words, you can watch the videos and do the activities whenever it suits you, and the online sessions, right? So it won't be just the videos, just the documents, and you're left on your own, but you will be having live sessions with Cambridge faculty. And you will also have a team around the course which can help you with a smooth experience, whether there will be content-related questions or technical related questions. We can help you to get the most out of this in the most efficient way, right? And now, if we talk about next steps, you've heard a lot already. Now, what can you do next? So if you're clear on whether this program is for you, then you can scan the QR code on your left and you can apply online. So you see the link there or the QR code. Or if you have questions, you can also schedule a call with the learning advisor 101, and you can talk about the course with an advisor separately. So again, you can scan the QR code on my left, which talks about apply online, if you are ready to go, and you can look at the next dates when the program starts. Or if you want to talk more with an advisor, then you can, and then you can scan the QR code on my right. And one other thing, which is obviously important, is financing. There is a way to pay in installments. You can look into this as well. And one last thing is, of course, there is a discount if you do it early. So you can use the code on the screen, which is MR50. So if you don't want to scan the QR code, fair enough, then you can go into the chat and you'll see the link there as well, which is the same one as you see on the screen. So once again, you can go ahead and book the place in the course, and then you will spend some time with Stella and her colleagues on the live sessions and also watching the videos that were prepared before. And also you can schedule a call with an advisor if you have more questions. When it comes to, I think there was a point about new things that happened in the past. I think, Stella, you can confirm this is a fresh course because a lot of things are changing in this field. It's a fresh course. However, as you mentioned, it's done so that you future-proof yourself and your organizations. So in other words, in the live sessions, you can talk about what's happening in the world of digital transformation or particular technology, but overall, the videos are fairly fresh, right? Or fresh.
Absolutely, they are fairly fresh, but indeed, I would highly encourage participants to engage, to join the live sessions. I think a lot of times, something that was on the news just last week, it might be a great opportunity to think further about what this means for business and organizations. And I think the advantages of the live sessions with the faculty are twofold, right? One, obviously, the opportunity to ask your questions, to engage with the faculty in real time and get the feeling of actually participating in such a program in real time. But practically also what this means is that this is an opportunity to reflect together and hear from our latest research as well as from our interpretation about the latest news on what's happening in the digital tech world.
Wonderful. So thank you for your insights and explanations, as I mentioned before. Any other final questions that we can answer today? You can put them in a Q&A, or if, as I said, if everything is clear, you can just book your place on a course. If you do it early, you will get a bit of a discount, or you can talk to an advisor and find out more. And if you don't have a phone with you, but you are behind a computer, you can just click on the link in the chat as well. Okay, so it looks like it's clear. I do hope that more people go to my left than to the right, but in any case, they all should come to you. Hopefully, you will see Stella and her colleagues on the course because there will be live sessions just as much as there will be pre-recorded sessions. And you talked about networking, so there will be opportunities to learn from one another as well, because many of you are practitioners. I did mention managers a lot, but Stella, you're right. It should be also for technical people and to enable them to persuade commercial managers to implement their technically led ideas. Often I've seen in practice that people are very good at costing, but they should be also very good at outlining the benefits and quantifying them, because otherwise it's a very tough discussion with commercial people that actually do both. So it's not only about costing, it's also about benefits. And it's about talking to people in the language that they know. And we need to bridge the two camps. And we talked about it in the curriculum when we mentioned change management. And this is where it all happens. And then hopefully you have a successful digital transformation from the formulation to execution, as we say in the title of the course. So thank you so much for joining. Great questions. Thank you, Stella Pahidi, for your time. And hopefully we'll see you soon in this course. So once again, you can scan the QR code or click on the link in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. And it will be great to see you at the live sessions in the upcoming versions of the program.
Thank you.